Good day everyone. For today's topic, it is about the Katipunan and the Revolution Memoirs of the General. Katipunan, it is an organization that formed by the Katipuneros. These Katipuneros are a group of people who are members or founders of the organization called Katipunan Movement or known as KKK, which stands for Kataas-taasan, Kagalang-galangan, Katipunan ng mga anak ng bayan. And revolution, it is a rebellion or battle against Spanish troops or against the colonizer. Memoirs of a General, it is a narrative account of Santiago Alvarez where we consider it as a primary sources because it was his personal experiences and observation during the Philippine Revolution, which both the Katipunan and the government succeed against the Spanish rule. But before we will talk about the events happened in his narrative accounts, we will get to know first who is Santiago Alvarez. Santiago Alvarez was born on July 25, 1872 in Imus, but he was raised in Noveleta. He is the only child of Revolutionary General Mariano Alvarez and Nicolas Ferrata. He is also a Revolutionary General, like his father, and honorary president of the first doctorate of the Nacionalista Party. He is known as Kidlat ng Apoy or Lightning of Fire because of his inflamed bravery and dedication during the Cavite famous battle, which is Battle of Talahican. Ang Battle of Talahican was considered as the bloodiest encounter during Revolution, where Santiago Alvarez and his father fought side by side and they scored a decisive victory, which means that they defeat the enemy. Now, let's proceed to the people that have mentioned in the narrative accounts of Santiago Alvarez, the Katipunan and Revolution. These are the people who have mentioned of Santiago Alvarez. First, Andres Bonifacio. Andres Bonifacio, he is the supreme leader of the Katipunan movement, or known as KKK. Gregoria de Jesus, she is the wife of the supreme leader of the Katipunan, Andres Bonifacio. Emilio Aguinaldo and Raimundo Mata, they are prominent townsmen of Kawit in Cavite. Jacinto Lumbreras, a Katipunan member and also the caretaker of the Central Telephone Exchange. Ramon Padilla, he is the functionary in the port office. Dr. Pio Valenzuela, the provisional chairman of the Katipunan. Other members of the Katipunan are Jose Dizon, Emilio Jacinto, and Pantaleon Torres. The members of the Council of the Katipunan are known as Magdiwang, and they have their elected officers. The president is Mariano Alvarez. The secretary is the Pascual Alvarez, treasurer Junicia Alvarez, Valentin Salot, the prosecutor, Benito Alex, sergeant at arms, Nicolas Ricafrente, Adriano Guento, Emitario Malia, and Valeriano Aquino are the director. In these accounts of Santiago Alvarez, he narrates the events relating to the revolution beginning from March 14, 1896. On March 14, 1896, Santiago Alvarez dealt with the secret organization and activities of the most venerable society of the sons of the people known as KKK. Stands for Kataas-taasan, Kagalang-galangan Katipunan ng mga anak ng bayan. The Katipunan records The Katipunan accounts is based on records, which entrusted by the founder or the original founder of the Katipunan. On that day, he accompanied Emilio Aguinaldo and Raimondo Mata to Manila for the initiation to the Katipunan Secret Society. When they reached Manila, they waited at the quarters of Jacinto Lumbreras. Jacinto Lumbreras is a member of the Katipunan and also the caretaker of the telephone exchange. At 7 o'clock in the evening, a Katipunan director arrived to take them to the Katipunan headquarters. But before they leave at the quarters of Jacinto Lumbreras, his two companions, Emilio Aguinaldo and Raimondo Mata, were blindfolded with black cloth. And after that, they got into Calesa and reached the home of Andres Bonifacio. The house of Andres Bonifacio was located on Cervantes Street. Now it is Rizal Avenue. It was surrounded by many guards, some of them were police, and also a member of the Katipunan. Then they were led in the inner part of the house of Bonifacio. But still his two companions, Emilio Aguinaldo and Raimondo Mata, were still blindfolded. Alvarez found out that on the table there is a skull and crossbones of human skeleton covered with black cloth. Besides, there were following paraphernalia. When we say paraphernalia, it is an equipment that needed for a particular activity, and equipment that need the Katipuneros to execute their plan. These are the following paraphernalias that Santiago Alvarez found in the house of Andres Bonifacio. These are the long blended weapon, an old revolver, a small knife with sharp edge, a new pen, the copy of the Katipunan, sheet of paper which written the blood-colored characters, and above there were symbols of 3K, which stands for Kataas-taasan, Kagalang-galangang Katipunan ng mga anak ng bayan, and it was painted in white. In the same day, Santiago Alvarez also witnessed the neophytes doing the ritual to be part of the Katipunan or the secret organization KKK. When we say neophytes, it refers to a person or people that is new or new member to a particular organization or activity. When the ritual was over, the neophytes signed their names using their own blood to be part of the organization, and both of the members of the Katipunan exchanged a fraternal embrace to the neophytes. Fraternal embrace means a warm welcome for them. On
April 6,
1896, Emilio Aguinaldo asked Alvarez to accompany him to see Andres Bonifacio again to learn about the Katipunan. Because when they first went to the Katipunan headquarters, he was blindfolded. Only Santiago Alvarez have an idea what is all about the Katipunan because he was able to witness it with his two eyes. And the founder of the Katipunan entrusted him. So, Emilio Aguinaldo wanted to learn what is about the Katipunan, so he asked his favor to Santiago Alvarez to accompany him to see the Supremo, Andres Bonifacio. They made trip to Manila. And when they reached to Manila, Aguinaldo went to port office to attend some business. On that day, he encountered Ramon Padilla, the functionary in the port office. Both Ramon Padilla and Emilio Aguinaldo exchanged some harsh or sharp words. Ramon Padilla was trying to impress with superior, but at the end he was showing how rude and arrogant he was. After that event, they went to Dr. Pio Valenzuela rented house, and they meet Andres Bonifacio, the Supremo, Gregoria de Jesus, the wife of Andres Bonifacio, Jose Dizon, also a member of the Katipunan, Dr. Pio Valenzuela, the provisional chairman of the Katipunan, Emilio Aguinaldo and Santiago Alvarez were welcomed with fraternal embrace. And they exchanged news and talked about the progress of the Katipunan. But Andres Bonifacio was very observant and asked Emilio Aguinaldo what was bothering him. Santiago Alvarez told to Andres Bonifacio that Emilio Aguinaldo had an unpleasant experience with an official at the port office, which is Ramon Padilla. Immediately, Andres Bonifacio decided to send Dr. Valenzuela and Jose Dizon to the house of Ramon Padilla to redress the dishonor he had shown to Emilio Aguinaldo. In the same month, it was a Good Friday, April 1896. At 9 o'clock in the morning, Supremo Andres Bonifacio, accompanied by Dr. Pio Valenzuela, Emilio Jacinto, and Pantaleon Torres, arrived in town of Nopeta, Cavite Province, to establish a provincial council of the Katipunan, which came to be known as the Magdiwang, where there are officers elected. The president, Mariano Alvarez, the secretary, Pascual Alvarez, Junicia, the treasurer, the prosecutor, Valentin Salot, Benito Alex, the sergeant-at-arms, Nicolas Ricafrente, Adriano Cuento, Emitario Malya, and Valeriano Aquino, the director. On September 28, 1896, Capitan General Apoy and General Vipora, under the command of General Eleuterio Marasigan and Luciano San Miguel, defend the Lahican Major Aklan, which they sighted the enemy. That night, the enemy activity started, which include the massing of Spanish troops. And that's the end of the narrative accounts of Santiago Alvarez. The event happened during the Katipunan and Revolution, very beginning of March 14, 1896.